We're live! Welcome, one and all, and if someone could check my audio, I'd highly appreciate it.
You're audible.
Am I audible?
So am I. Yes.
You are.
Weird, because my settings are set for voice mod, and I'm not using it right now, but alright, I will take it.
Don't question things. Just accept it.
Voice mod is a demon. It chooses when it works and when it doesn't work. But alright, we're live. It's going to be a pretty exciting week. We got some things first on the some important news starting out here. First and foremost, we are at 90 followers. We're almost at 100 followers on Twitch, so that's super exciting. We're gonna cross the 100 follows threshold, which is a pretty big one for small channels. Takes a lot of effort. Well, some say it's easy, but you know, for tabletop, it's a lot of effort. Speaking of tabletop, I have officially made my character and will be playing in a bi-weekly game on Saturdays, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to about 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be playing the Kindled Magic module, which is really cool. It explores the Mwangi Expanse and the Magambia, which is a really cool organization. I'm going to be playing an MBK dwarf who is gonna have who has no beard and is like really shaved down hair that looks like a sconce. It's going to be kind of flaming because he's an elemental heart dwarf. And he's going to have a pet emperor bird as he's a ranger. It's going to be really exciting. I'm really fun. The rest, I don't know exactly. One player might be playing a magus. One player made at least a druid this last week. And another player wasn't there, but they're interested in playing a bard, so we'll see. But you can check us out over at, let me pull up the Twitch.
Oh god, they have an emperor bird? Those poor enemies.
I know, right? Capri's House of Gaming, all one word. You can find us there on Twitch. Our first session is officially the 28th. I also have some other projects in the works. I recently applied for a position as either a guest player or guest DM for the UK Pathfinder Gen Con stuff being run by the channel Badger something. I'm so official.
Excellent plug.
I got a lot on my plate, okay? It's a lot going on. I have another collab project that hasn't been official yet, but things are getting set up, and we'll get more on that when I find it. It's Band of Badgers and Danger Club are representing the official UK live Paizo channel during PaizoCon Europe. That's what it was, not Gen Con. PaizoCon. And they're going to be going over the first 3 chapters of the brand new Pathfinder Society Year 3 meta plots. So We're going to be having a lot of fun there. A lot of fun Pathfinder lore. And what else? God, my schedule's busy. We'll be getting to the videos soon enough. Just a lot has been going on. We've now officially started doing table talk for a couple hours on Thursdays. Probably like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Maybe a little earlier, depending, but like somewhere around that range. Just freeform, come in, chat with us. We're going to be discussing... Yes, that one. Correct, Steven. Should be like a blue logo with yellow fonts. Or goldenrod fonts. I think. Anyway. So yeah, come by, check us out on our table talk. Come chat with us, have some fun. Anything else? I think that is the bulk of it. Any of you have any news or anything you want to add?
No.
Nope. Okay. Awkward nopes it is. Oh yeah, also I've made the grand mistake of getting into Warhammer, so
no,
if you
there
don't
was
see me again.
something. There was something. It's
Okay,
that you
okay.
lost the game.
Cool. I lost the game.
Just in case Beth watches.
Oh,
See,
yes.
that would be a fun table talk discussion, Cameron.
Talking, yeah.
Warhammer.
I
That'd be
mean,
great.
Warhammer
Let
is
me
technically
rant. Let me
tabletop.
rant.
Warhammer
at
is
'em.
technically tabletop. We'll do that. You know, we'll do that Thursday the 26th or the 2nd, because I want to play first, so then I can be like, let me rant about this game real quick.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about mistakes being made, games being played, and likely high investments in my future. But at least I can get a box of like 10 minis for $59, which will be a project to start with.
Just warning you, rubrics are tough-ish to paint. That's doable.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy with it, buy some isopropyl alcohol, 90%.
I'll
Keep
get
that
all
handy.
the tips.
Yeah.
I'll watch all the mini painting channels. We'll get there.
Just don't bring those up. I'm gonna fall into another spiral of watching like epoxy like scene setting YouTube videos for hours. I can't do that to myself. Again.
Yeah. It's gonna be worse when I start looking to start doing some kit bashing, because you can do some baller ass kit bashes.
It's very complicated.
It's very complicated. If you can do it, man, it will elevate your units to another level. Anywho, beyond that, did it not loop? Guess where I set it to loop.
It's gonna start playing Wellerman again.
Please, no more Wellerman.
When we did table talk, every like 20 minutes it would just play Wellerman.
Yeah, it's because if they didn't find the song on YouTube, it'd be like, well, Heller is close to Weller, so we're just gonna give you some Wellerman songs. I'm like, please, that song is so horrendously copyrighted right now. Don't sabotage me like this. I need to get a better music bot that can play off Spotify. Because I'll tell you, stream beats, pretty good music for just chilling in the background. But all right, last we left off, our good boy Sebastian here is getting some ice cream with his adoptive father, as the players have just a very pleasant evening with a Goldarian family. Sebastian found out that not only does he now have a new stepmom, but also a new stepbrother. The dynamics get a little weird. He has a new brother. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck names.
He's got
Fuck
a
titles.
baby brother.
He's got a baby brother named Sebastian Jr. Because...
Listen, sometimes you think your adopted kid's dead, so you get really teary and sentimental when you name your second child and name them after the first. And then they turn out to be alive, and you just can't say to their face, yeah, his name's Sebastian, so you very deftly sidestep that and just call him Junior. And everybody believes you that his name is just Junior.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I gotta say, it was a glorious moment. After literally just dying a few episodes ago, Sebastian has definitely come a very different direction.
Sometimes you just need a very cool demon organ and character development. It's all the demon heart. That's all it is.
I think you could have had the second without the first.
I disagree.
Had you made one decision better.
I disagree. I did everything perfectly, all according to plan.
That's true. It's
fine,
hard to
because
grow
it will
3
only
sizes
handle
that day.
Sidwith will only have to handle having murdered you for forever.
It's fine. Sebastian thinks everything's okay. So... yeah. I'll say this, for starting the game, I've decided, for you guys' sake, in an upcoming campaign, I will be playing Sebastian Jr. I will be playing him eventually.
I can't wait to see what build you go with this fucking...
I'm really
amalgam of
fucking
characters.
curious, honestly.
It's gonna be weird. I don't know if it's gonna be amazing.
Speaking of kit,
It's gonna be weird. I've been looking into it, what can I mirror, because I don't see this character having I have the gift, and all that stuff, but if they're I don't have this, but what can I do to emulate this person that I I was trained by for a bit, this person I respect, I want to know how to do their thing.
and then everyone said techniques.
Yeah, probably gonna be a key user, also going to be built because Viking Goldarian, and then it's gonna be the buff younger brother and fucking string bean next to him.
Yeah. And who knows? He might have the blood of Holst running through him.
Maybe.
True. I want to find out.
Yeah.
You can finally interact with the Holster.
The whole storyline, it's been dropped so many times like a hot fucking potato. But let's see if y'all survive your journeys through the peak of the world.
Oh, that.
What's the worst that can happen? There's only 2 dragons.
There's only 2 dragons, yeah. They don't have a mile-long breath attack or anything in this fucking system.
We shredded through 3 of them last campaign.
Those were lesser. Those were
No,
lesser.
they were about the same, but they were not fighting very optimally, and they were kind of throwing their lives away.
Yeah,
This
they
one-
were commanded to protect the Unraveler.
Yeah.
And Astrid did one-shot one of them.
Yeah, you guys don't have as crazy of artifacts in this one.
True.
Who needs artifacts when you just have nearly 1,000 health and heavy armor?
I mean, fair. But you also had artifacts. What are you talking about?
They weren't the funnest part. Nothing ever even killed me. I didn't get to use Droxmog's fun ability. I just
You
used
made
his
it
racist
so
feature
hard!
list.
You gave yourself so much resistance!
Only to fire. They didn't really, like, breathe fire.
No, like, your fairy can also just eat damage for breakfast and we're
Yeah, that's part of
stupid
my
hard
1,000
as
health.
stone.
That's not an artifact. That's my soul. I split that to protect my friends and immediately lost one of them. So, you know, it's a give and a take in Anima.
Woof. On those cheery lines. Let's get back. Now, I am not going to I'm not going to not cheat. What's a good term for it? I am not going to there's a good word for it. Like, I'm not going to degrade? No, that's not the word. Anyway, last session was cute and adorable, and I don't mean to try to hop right back into those sentimental emotions. Y'all spend the rest of the day, or maybe a couple days, depending on Sebastian's feelings on the matter. At the...
They just spend a day.
Did I seriously not pin the message where his name was at? I didn't add it to my character notes either.
It's
bad
Abraham.
DM. Abraham
Finch.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
The Finch household. I keep forgetting that's your last name.
I
To
won't
be
say it
honest. Does not come up a lot. But you spend, the rest of the day there at the Finch household. It's very nice, and despite them very generously offering their home for the evening, y'all look at the combined 80 square feet and you're like, I think we're good.
Guess we gotta build them an extension. Alright, well, I have 50 gold pieces.
Alright, sorry guys. We're gonna go, don't look outside as we fly up to the cloud currently hovering above your cabin. We'll just be back from the woods. Shifty eyes.
Though, before you all go, Abraham gently clasps a hand on Sebastian's shoulder and gives to you a very rough made necklace. It's got a leather strap. It seems to be whittled from some kind of animal bone, and it's vaguely bird-shaped. Abraham is not a strong crafter. He's a great lumberjack. Not a man known for his gentle touch or craftsmanship. But he obviously spent a lot of time on it. It's got grooves carved into it. It looks... I mean, When I say rough, it's just kind of like when you look at like ancient art. It's like very, you know what they're trying to represent, but it's very like simple.
It's an artistic take on a finish rather than a detailed, realistic one carved.
And as he does so, he's just like, just remember, boy, you always have a place to come back to.
I'll remember that. I will be back once we finish our work.
As Alex tries not to cry.
And like, Sebastian's a little shaky. His like, especially after being just touched, he looks a little just uncomfortable. But he, after getting the necklace, kind of slowly and a little hesitantly mirrors what Abraham did. Like, puts a hand on his shoulder. Just like for a second or two, then like removes it.
His wide face, his pretty big head, his smile across his face, his roughly shaved beard and mustache just kind of prickle out as the many wrinkles in his face just kind of squint together as he tries his best not to cry in that moment. He's a very big, jolly fellow usually. It's like, you know, it's like if Santa Claus was to start crying. It's just that same kind of like, they look way happier than sad. But with that, the whole family watches you all, you know, out the door as y'all head into the woods. And once you feel you're a good enough distance away, y'all begin to lift off and ascend through the tree line. Well, you three, like, fly through the tree line. Fenwith Moore just takes off like a cryptid. Just suddenly wings and then crawling through the upper branches, breaking free and soaring into the sky.
It's something always done with like so much momentum and force that it should be really noisy, but because they're owl wings, it's eerily quiet.
Well, it's more
He still makes noise, and like the initial like take off and like the trees does, but him on them giant ass wings, they're quiet as hell.
Yeah. As you all kind of ascend up, it's a particularly dark night, as Goldar typically has a strong amount of overcasts. But you all kind of take off, the chilling breeze coming across your faces, and you can look down, and very lightly through the trees you can see just the little light from the house and the barely visible smoke from the hearth as you all kind of fly up, going quite the distance, and then landing on the top of the Temple of the Scoured Eye. And there's that strong dichotomy between the nice, warm, humble abode you went before and now this slightly windy, cold, dark, temple top with a part of the structure that's been just completely destroyed from when the dragon attacked. And you all enter inside, your foot's echoing across the halls and down the stone steps until you're met by that familiar green glow that seems to fill the interior of the Deva temple. And it's chilly. The inside of this temple's, probably like a solid 50 degrees.
Been with once again. correct in this place, feeling cold and lifeless in comparison. But never was such an immediate swap from what is considered home and preferred and comfortable to this. Normally it's in the context of having been on the road in the wilderness for a prolonged period of time, or in an underground facility for an extended period of time.
For Finwith especially, this switch just hits as, you know, being in a nice warm house filled with all kinds of familial bonding and all that kind of stuff, and just switching to the cold, harsh reality of what probably needs to be done next is a weight you very much feel on your heart. Not that anyone could tell, as looking at your face, they just see eyes.
Completely blown out. But nah, feet feel like lead, talons and all, to go creep back to a hammock amongst trees in a false forest, to sleep alone in the cold.
Olin comes out to meet you all, and speaks with Sebastian, as he tends to be the more reliable person when it comes to talking of matters of business. And he says in his very usually, you know, quiet and overly serious tone, so will that be everything?
I have done everything I need to do.
What are your next plans?
Our next destination was the peak of the world.
He nods. Well then, I'll set the course. And the temple begins. It's relatively slow, but ever ongoing steady pace in the direction of the peak of the world. It will take probably about a day at least to get to the temple's charging area. So y'all have plenty of time to rest another full day and even make possibly a change in direction if the need were to arrive.
Oh, is this the sparring matches episode?
Not gonna lie, Anas at some point probably would suggest it. Mainly because he's bored out of his goddamn mind, because after all of that conversation's over, while he's trying to massage his ear because of the pressure change, you hear a mumble of him going, "Fuck, I forgot to grab something from the town. Damn it!" He just marches off towards his room.
Huh. What do you suppose that he forgot? Kind of turns to the other two.
Well, if anyone headed off to bed, so it's just Sebastian there.
That's Sebastian then.
I am unsure. I don't know what they would buy from a town. There are a lot of things they could buy.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I'm sure it has. Well, it has to have some value, right?
Possibly. By the way, Alexi, I have a request for you.
Oh, what would that be?
As I've become stronger with my own psychic abilities, I feel like I am being held back. I would like you to teach me how to use ki.
You see this like big smile come across his face. Well, of course, if we're going to teach you to use ki, we're going to need to strengthen them arms. And he's about to like do like a tap on your shoulder, but then stopped.
He doesn't flinch as much as he would normally.
Which seems to also bring a smile, but he'll hold back that one a bit. Though I suppose I've met somebody as physically adept as you are and trained them perfectly fine. So, come. We need to figure out what kind of frost collier you will be.
Well, if you guys are gonna do your training montage and achieves in, can you do it in the garden so Fenwood could watch from above with the big creepy owl eyes?
Sure.
It's honestly the best place to do it, so.
It's got the most open space. And trees made of metal.
That's only a
Well,
couple in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Fenwood would request that you leave those trees alone. They might have spirits.
Honestly, messing with you don't know how true those words might be.
I'm very aware I know that they're correct. He got some of the lore off of them and was like, oh, okay, we have to be very respectful. That's why he asked the tree and like apologized just in case the spirit was listening before he took a piece.
I can't wait for the next phase. There's gonna be some fun lore bits you guys are gonna have to go through.
Is that one angry mother tree gonna be awake and start beating people up?
Maybe.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there when we get there. I know. It's just like I love that in like the years we've been doing Anima campaigns, just the small seeds of information that's just gonna start soon blooming, and it's going to be glorious. But the Arboretum is probably not the best place, as there's also a variety of rare plants that are not the sturdiest.
If there's not like a decent clearing, then yeah, go somewhere else, I guess.
I mean, you're like in someone's like a garden made for. It's like if you played Skyrim, you know, and you became like the head of the Mages Guild, and you get the Arboretum in the top of the tower. It's like it's mostly there for precious plant material that's been cultivated.
Bold of you to assume that we have herb lore.
Clearly, I've run across a plant in here that I can use as a shape to increase my regeneration so I could heal my insurmountable health.
No,
Goddamn
sadly, none of them have stupid high regeneration.
Damn.
Unfortunately, this most special thing in that room is Gestalt trees.
Well, it's fine. I'm just under 100 missing health.
Oof.
Out of how much health do you currently have?
I have 231 out of 320.
You have literally like the lives of 3 men.
Yes,
You're fine.
but I'm missing the life of 2. I could have the life of 5 men. Alright, go do your training montage.
But yeah, as Alexi is training Sebastian, who looks determined, and Finwith is sitting in their hammock in quiet contemplation, and Anas is, removing all their armor before bed. We close the scene for the night. And eventually, morning comes. And you can tell the lighting in this place has a kind of like a difference in light during the day. In the morning, it's a very brighter, softer glow. And, as day goes by, it will illuminate and become like a harder green light and then soften into a very, very dim, kind of like neon green light. Devin looked very confused there for a moment.
There's just this da 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 or whatever, and I'm very confused.
Yeah, I did hear it, but it's not from the music. I think it was outside of it somewhere. Did someone open their phone? Might have just been from outside too. But anyway. The morning arrives, and for those who like a, breath of fresh air, who might step out onto the observation platform, you can see gentle snow falling as before you lies the peak of the world, stretching high and as far as the eye can see, even from this elevated position. And behind you lies the various valleys of Goldar. As you head into the frosted mountain tips of the peak of the world, that even in early summer, I want to say the time is, might be mid-spring. I double check my calendar real quick.
Regardless, it's always cold as shit here.
Fair.
I still want to check out that fucking temple that we passed by on the way to kill the Arctic Chimeras all that time ago.
I mean, y'all have a flying castle. The door to Sertine.
Listen, Finwith has almost entirely forgotten that shit existed, and he would hear the legends of like, yeah, no, don't fuck with that. That's bad juju right there. And he'd like, all right, I'm not fucking with it.
Unfortunately, Lexi doesn't know about it. Well, he probably does, but he hasn't passed by the doors of such things.
There's many things I longingly look at on the Anima map and go, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But yes, it is the beginning of early summer, May 13th. As you all are heading towards the mountain peaks, and now everyone's awake, conscious. You still got a couple more hours to go before you'll arrive at the listening post or the temple site, and y'all can talk about your next move, what you would like to do.
So the first question is, where are we meeting up to talk about this? Are we talking out in the open in the fresh air, or are we talking inside a room?
Wherever we want.
Outside, like on a balcony, could be kind of cool. Or just outside in general.
Fenwith is probably already out there, taking in the view, perched on the edge. One part nerves and one part he just likes being outdoors instead of in that shitty temple. So
You'll
Right,
eventually
right.
gather out on the observation platform. The Grecian-style columns and some of the covered walkways, a stark contrast to the rubble and destruction of the entryway into the temple. It is frigid as you are up in the icy mountain range area. I would say it's a probably solid, like, with wind chill, it feels probably close to about like 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Brisk even by Goldarian standards. Holding your, whatever clothes you use to keep warm close to yourselves, or, Finwith just being furry, fuzzy man that he is.
the feathers do can't help.
Y'all
Sticking your
meet up.
hands under them would be like, ooh, toasty.
And Asase probably sitting in the covered pathway.
Out of precaution, but he's close enough to the edge where he could easily be close enough to the snow, so it's within arm's reach, but not enough that he's in direct sunlight.
But y'all gather.
Fenwith fidgets a little.
Alexei appears to be just enjoying the nice, cool air out on this little balcony area.
The Nos absentmindedly creates a makeshift snowball out of boredom, just gazing out at nothing. Tosses it from one hand to the other. So how are we going to approach this? And just looks up at whoever's in front of him.
Fenwith over by the railing. Crouched atop it, the talons curled around. He's been keeping an eye on the dragons, but don't know exactly where anybody is or where they've settled, but places where they're seen more often. We're going to have to scour the peaks, but we can't do it with the ship.
Is there a way that we can at least approach this peacefully? I understand that we fought sculling before, and I would rather not do that again in this situation.
I don't know. He just kind of shrugs helplessly. We're stubborn. When we fought them before, I asked them what they were doing this far up north. You saw that one.
How did it go?
Just spit at me. Whether the Ozarin killed him. They would not have spoken. Whether he knew I was one or not. Though I'm I'm pretty sure they knew. I tried to whistle off their wargs. If we can go without a fight, I'd like to. I'd be able to know more. But I don't know how it will go, or who we will find. I don't know if they're grouped up like they were before the battle, or if they're still spread out in bands like normal. If in bands, then we can deal with just that chief and their people. Might be able to avoid a fight. But I don't know what they're doing. And that changes a lot.
If they were somehow connected to the dragons, as he just haphazardly tosses the snowball over the side of the railing. If they're connected to the dragons, would the dragons supposedly stay close by?
I don't know. The dragon before didn't need to. We only saw it during the battle. These diamonds did. They fly really fast. They don't need to be nearby. At least not nearby to us. They also have to eat a lot. They're really big. Can't do that hanging around other hunters. And I don't know if they are controlled like the last one.
Is there a way to tell?
Shrugs.
Well, you don't know much about dragons. But you would figure most winged creatures, hunting ranges, expand for miles.
That's what he's saying, yeah. So they don't have to necessarily be nearby in our standard.
Right,
They can
I'm
get
more
to
like
it.
laying it out clearly.
Yeah.
The dragons could probably easily have, a 50 to 150 mile radius for their hunting grounds.
And we are absolutely sure that these dragons are tied to them.
Not absolutely, but he just shrugs. They probably are. One was last time, and they haven't been seen in a while here. That's what he said with the pictures.
Also, the Sculling have a long history of not praying to, but believing in the Destroyer, which is, the essentially the Midgard serpent. So they have a proclivity, which means they're prone to do so by prior habits.
Yeah, I
There's
know
a
what that
reason people rallied to the dragon before.
Okay, so... Alright, the theory on mating pair might not be that accurate then. And he kind of leans back and lays his elbows on a railing
I
of
mean,
some
they
sort.
could be that too. That's how you get more dragons. We already tame and breed wargs. Plus, if the dragons did have eggs or something, they would be safe with us. If anything's a child of school, it's one of them.
Nas pauses. I don't suppose you have a form that can keep up with them, do you? I know your owl form's very fast, but...
He shakes his head immediately. When Claude was snatched and I ran up top, he was already gone. I could barely see anything. It moves too quick. And
Actually-
that fake man said they can breathe fire and other things for a really long ways. So it just needs to get close enough once.
Nas pauses. I'm not familiar with the region, but I know there was mention of the one volcano. Is there another one?
Is it just
'Cause that
Muspelheim
dragon-
or Muspelheim? Or is there another?
Could one roll a history of volcanoes in the area?
One can roll a history, yes. Or
we know
a
Because it's
academia.
fucking black snows.
Yep,
Cursed
that's
ass
the
volcano.
Muspelheim.
And Nas will try, but he ain't gonna have much luck on this.
Not a bad roll. Then again, I hope I don't have a bad roll. I have 125 in the skill.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, 84 is surprisingly good for someone who's not, for someone who's a Vitella in general, to be honest.
Gotta love them checks with a base of 10.
Oof.
I mean, you were asleep for a hot minute, and like, why would you guys care about what's going on in the Viking backwoods?
There's enough issues in Moth to keep us occupied. It's just secretly all the knowledge he had from reading fairy tales. He's just never going to admit it was just straight from the fairy tale books. He's going to assume it's straight up history.
I mean, in Moth, where's really the difference?
If there's a superstition, it's a thing you gotta worry about.
It's grounded somehow in some type of stat block when it comes to Moth. Fenwith is just rolling himself in like a salt brine while he's there. Ripley is losing her shit.
She's very excited for Nars.
Cats do that. Suzumi's. Incite her to violence, Alex. Do it.
I'll try, but she's hiding right now.
Maybe if you make interesting noises like scratching your nails on like the comforter or something, she'll like launch up. Aha! Called it. You just gotta put a hand like under the comforter and just
That's true. that.
All right, so just checking in on my world lore.
That's fine. We're being entertained by Ripley. She's war dancing on his hand.
Muspelheim is the only volcano in recent times, anyway. There's a large history of, large mountains that would rumble, and, the city of Mullenheim is characterized by the dark stone, which, surrounds the city. Which is somewhat strange for most mountains, as despite most of them being covered in snow, you've been in your fair share of caves, and the stone doesn't look particularly dark, so that's always something that might be, if you had science, you could probably figure it out. But no one here has science, so it's just some dark stone
Actually,
that
I
characterizes.
have I'm just kidding.
I know you don't. Y'all are struggling to figure out what a power switch was, or a staple remover.
Thank you. I have discovered what it is. It is
That's
a scene
true.
thingy, majigger.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a dingus. But, yeah, nothing else really comes to mind historically speaking. Unfortunately, the Peak of the World, despite the variety of cities that are located within its peaks, is a mostly unknown territory, just due to the inhospitable nature of traversing the high mountain peaks.
Hold on. I need to silence the dogs.
But for both of you, you both know Muspelheim is very well known due to the black snows, because at its center is a active volcano that's consistently pumping ash into the air.
All right. Lexi seems to ponder something, trying to find the proper words. As far as I am aware, there is only one volcano around here. At least that I am aware of. Muspelheim.
Nanas nods. It's about what I can remember as well. And Finwith mentioned the dragon was from the volcano, right? And just looks over in Sebastian's direction.
I don't remember them saying that, but Sebastian might. Let's see.
Which dragon are you referring to, first of all?
The one originally from Finley's backstory.
Finwith.
Finwith.
Did the same thing Cameron did last week.
I did, yeah. Finwith.
If it makes you feel better, I keep confusing Cameron and Devin's characters in my game I'm running.
Fair.
It's fair. No, they're from the Murenheim mountain range, is where Bloodbane had originated from.
I rolled 164 to memorize though, so do I remember anything cool?
Well, you remember the sparse details and also the events that Finwith went through in their trial at the prison of Noah. And you know generally where the dragon's corpse might lie. Just based on the story that was told, the location of the battlefield, and where you guys met Claude.
He describes as much. He at least relays the information he remembers.
It's a wild shot, but I don't know if they'd be willing to attempt the same thing again. Not with the amount of losses they had. But I'm no expert on the sculling, unfortunately.
You can actually find it's kind of funny that no matter how much history there is, people generally just don't learn their lesson.
It's like Grimace and understanding not from Anas, given the long history behind his family. We could try checking out the volcano, but there's a good chance that might be where that red dragon is staying. But if they're attempting it, they might be nearby.
I'll make mention, y'all met the the schooling around here. On your trek from Skogenjäger, which is about here. You guys passed the door of Surtheim and began climbing into the peak of the world, and you met them approximately here.
And that seems like a whole nother life ago.
I mean, there's the area we fought them originally, but I don't know if they've stuck around. Though, to be fair, I wasn't entirely focused on my surroundings on that trek. So I don't remember much.
This fortress that we find ourselves traveling in quite often, it is able to see throughout the passes by the things that Golan is always looking at. Has there been any sightings of them at all? Or just the dragons?
We can ask. I know he was keeping an eye on the dragons, because if those came for the ship, we would have no way to defend ourselves.
Well, no. He has seen the dragons multiple times in the proximity of the temple, which the temple has there's a variety of cameras within, cameras, quote unquote, magical sensors within a 25-mile radius around the temple site. And on occasion, the dragons come through that. But they're not aimed at any mountain passes or anything like that. Last time Finwith asked, the only thing Olin seemed to mention anyway was the occasional dragons kind of seen off in the distance. So, anyone can roll for me in animal handling? Or animals? I think it's just animals is what it's called. Or...
God, I had a character really good at this at one point.
You did. Or survival.
Can we roll survival?
Yes, I just said and survival.
I'll roll a survival.
I thought you were implying something else.
The survival DC will be higher.
That's all I can do, though.
I have animals, and my animals is higher than my survival. A reminder that Finwith has had like a 45 in animals since the beginning. I lived with wargs.
There.
It's true.
Got used to dogs. Really big, scary. wolf
Well, in the
monsters.
schooling, we're known as beast tamers.
That's why it's in there.
Okay. Both Finwith and Sebastian, mostly Sebastian from a logical sense, can dictate that the temple of the Skyward Eye is somewhere in about like this region on the map. And the dragons seem to sometimes appear in the proximity of or around the temple, but only barely. Meaning that the dragon's hunting range probably just barely meets where the temple of the Skyward Eye is.
And what side of the
It's all been about eastbound from the temple, so you don't know the size of the dragon's hunting range exactly, but you might know some people who might.
Are you gonna ask the fake man? I hate the fake man.
The fake man.
The hologram. They knew a bunch of
Oh.
dragons.
I mean,
Maybe.
that's also an one you can do as well. But you guys also have association with another group that specifically hunts large creatures.
Yep. Look, I even have my beast hunter's badge.
But do we
Our
really want to
boys.
bother people? I mean, that's
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
But anyway, there's at least that much. So, Olin has expressed a lack of desire to fly the temple into the dragon's territory.
Yeah, let's not get shot out of the sky by dragons.
Wouldn't be ideal.
Also, something that strikes both Sebastian and Finwith as well. Both dragons have been seen in generally the same vicinity. Large predator beasts typically do not share territory. Mostly because feeding just one creature of such a size would be an ordeal in and of itself, let alone two.
It doesn't bode well.
As Finwith said, they've both been seen. It takes a lot of food to feed those things. They have the support of the sculling if they're involved with them, which we can all agree they definitely are. But you might have to take a larger hunting range or just have enough to eat.
Well, you also
My
know,
concern
and
would be them
something
getting ready civilization.
something that has been specified as well. The Peak of the World is well known for having large beasts in its vicinity. So
They're gonna hunt out all the Arctic chimeras, you guys.
And possibly whatever those pair of wings came from.
Finwith has moved past the Grey Wings and is now hooked on all of the like horrific amalgam shit that was on Malekith's throne.
oh no, he's got a demon addiction. He wants all the demon bits.
They look
It's so
sick as
cool.
fuck.
It's
They
so
do
cool.
look sick as fuck, but they also have major sins associated with them.
Oh god, it's spreading. walked in with, gained demon powers, then slashed down Sebastian, who got infected with demon powers.
Oh my god, it is infectious.
The Inquisition just like red eye gleam meme.
Inquisition ain't shit. Whooped our ass. I'm just kidding.
We did just solidly dunk on them, yes. Admittedly, none of those were a High Inquisitor.
True.
They got bodied.
So we can ask the library. Their version of a library is strange. But we seem to have a general direction to look, and unfortunately that goes into their territory. Or if maybe the Frost Collier are willing to help? I don't know if they would be.
Well, even helping aside, if we do find towns or cities in the mountains, they would know what's more out of the ordinary than us. They might have seen something. Or might be beast hunters that we can talk to. But Frost
Alright.
Collier and the beast hunters both go after same things, so they might have noticed the numbers drop or territories change.
As people who live in this world, you know, no one knows a region better than people who hunt them regularly.
True. Let's see.
Because if the dragons aren't a risk to towns or cities, then other things that might be escaping the dragons might be, which still points us in the way.
We're like right here on the map, right?
You're approaching it. Yeah, a couple hours, but yeah.
Hmm.
What's it, NR?
Yep. Oh god, I don't know. No. He wouldn't know much about navigation. But the feel of the area they're in, he's very familiar with.
Anar. Yeah, that's a super easy one. Because that is where your good friend Alexi comes from.
That's Alexi's home turf.
It is the home of the Frost Collier, the Icebreakers.
The champions of the king.
King Ogin.
Strong name.
Okay.
Well, if we're flying over your home, maybe they'll have noticed something.
It is certainly a place to check. I mean, if they particularly have large hunting areas and are hunting more or less bigger game, I feel like the Frost Color would definitely know.
Well, then we can stop there. You can go talk to them and show off your fancy sword.
As far as I'm aware, this sword was like lost to time, right?
Yes. That's also maybe a point of contention. Because, like, imagine if some British guy just found, like, Excalibur and claimed it as his own. Right. It's very presumptuous of anyone not of particularly high renown or grand standing to lay claim to essentially a cultural artifact.
If
It's
they want to
something.
trust whether that's actually Frostland or not, you could prove it to them.
I mean, at your level, it's not like any conflict would be like you'd probably wipe out the rest of the Frost Collier pretty handily.
Yeah, I think they have an average level of 3.
Do they?
It's been a while though. I haven't double checked the units.
If that's the case, like we're like triple.
Oh yeah, no, the common Frost Collier is level 3. But that does mean that the especially good Frost Collier are probably higher than that, but even at twice that level, you still beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of level 11 Frost Collier walking around, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, like the most elite of elite units, like high level mercenaries or individuals of like winning grand tournaments level is like level 7. Level 7, level 8.
Hey,
That's
I did
'cause you gotta
that. I
have
did
main
that at level
character.
7.
You gotta
It's
have
true.
main character level Gnosis to be climbing higher than that, though, and doing cooler shit than just
Yep.
tournaments or mercenary war work.
Most of these individuals will never go beyond that because they've already, for the most part, mastered their craft in their eyes, and they don't come across more challenging events. That's kind of like the only reason why high Gnosis characters typically get higher levels is because they come across more and more dangerous shit. They don't have to search for it.
It comes to them.
You get your goal done, but you have to fight for it.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Lucifer arcs their head towards you. Oh no.
Well, if we're making this stop, I have something I'll need to ask about before we leave this place to go inquire with the Frost Collier.
Oh. What would that be?
The eyes expand a bit, curiously.
He motions to the breaker blade. Be very handy if I knew what this was made of, so I could actually have someone fix it. And he points to all the dings and stuff, and where there's wear and tear, and it desperately needs repair. And this obviously did not come from the lowlands.
Is there any I guess this could be a question I could ask. Is there historically any really good blacksmithing areas in Hoffman?
Yeah, there used to be some sick blacksmith in Muspelheim, but not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's
They got some
kind
mowed off
of-
the planet.
That's kind of where I would say, yes, you can go ahead and make a history roll. See if there's any particularly well-known blacksmiths.
I literally rolled one more than I did last time.
I feel
One
bad for
second,
Beyond
reading the
20
book.
I feel bad for the Beyond 20 extension. It's sitting here expectantly, waiting to be used. It is horrifically diluted if it thinks we're playing D&D.
Oh, does that mean you can't unmute yourself, Alex? Or you have to do
I have
it
to
more
manually
consciously?
do it, and I'm now on voice activity. But yeah, can't take notes. Can't use push to talk.
Oh, just type your notes on your phone at least. You
See,
can talk
get
to smoke.
wired keyboards. Why?
I'm going to
Why
after
do you
this.
have a fucking battery powered anything is bullshit. Don't you
it's
care about the
small.
whales?
It's small and light and easy to use, and it was $20. So it served me well for like 2 years. And now it's acting up. I replaced the batteries because it's just not working. Like it'll just not type right. And now it just won't connect. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. After the session, I'm gonna have to go and buy a new keyboard. So,
It's
It'll
a
be a
lesson
fun-
for everyone out there. Do not get battery powered anything.
My wired keyboard broke in a really weird way, where just a whole row just of keys didn't work anymore. And then I just needed a cheap replacement because broke college student, and Fred Meyer had a $20 keyboard. It worked just fine.
Broke college student. I'm sorry, how much have you spent on Warhammer already?
Now I have the money to spend for it. I didn't at the time.
I will say $20 is a good 2-year or a good 2-year get out of a keyboard.
It's only
But
been
still,
acting up on me for like
batteries
a
are
month or two.
terrible for the environment.
I mean, I don't have to change it often. I've
Speaking of
changed my
batteries, though,
like twice.
I do have a fun horror story.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You guys should ask me later how the wife's family keeps their batteries.
Okay, ominous.
Well, I don't want to bog down the game, so.
That's fair. That's fair. It's okay. It's okay. I don't foresee keyboard use being absolutely necessary.
Good. I will not type out any of my rolls today.
That's fine.
So,
We will trust you, and the audience will just have to listen. Unfortunately,
use your imagination.
imagine he's rolling them bones. And then we might, well, depending on how things go, and like what we're doing, we might end a little early then to not make it any more difficult, because the whole push to talk thing is also, yeah, the whole push to talk thing is, I would say, a pretty big grievance not to have available.
I'm just gonna manually mute and unmute for right now, because I am not gonna just voice activity leave it on. I don't want to do that.
That's fair, but that sounds brutally annoying. So we'll continue on. I know where we could stop, like an hour or half an hour early. So no worries.
Sorry about this guy.
No worries. It's
always
life.
you, Alex.
Yeah, I
at
have
least
all the
he
gear
could be
troubles
here
lately.
today. So.
Yes.
But yes. So, that being said, y'all have a general idea where you can go, and you can even stop in Ann Arbor. Oh, right, you rolled about the blacksmithing roll, and you got a 163. Yes. You don't know where, but there is a history of some surviving blacksmiths from a catastrophe long in the past who escaped the fires of the Muspelheim Mountains exploding and took their forging crafts with them into the peak of the world.
I don't know, but you guys do. But with that, Alexei will think for a moment, and there are some word about some blacksmiths that survived the Moose Mountains. But unfortunately, I'm unaware of where they might be at this time. But from what I understand, their craftsmanship was much more above your regular blacksmith. Might be something to investigate.
Mm-hmm. If anything, I'd prefer before we go face the Lich, but the Scullion take a bit more priority right now.
You said these blacksmiths were with the Frost Collier. Correct.
No. I am unaware of where they are right now. Just that they escaped the Muspelheim Mountains. Or the volcano, rather. Unfortunately, again, I do not know where they are. But I imagine not too far away from home, yes?
Maybe.
Maybe your weird fake man knows more.
I was actually going to go ask if this place had something that could identify the metal. Because now that I think about it, I don't know if this is metal I'm normally used to seeing. Or if I'm
No.
just- Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of been an ongoing thing, is you don't know what it's made of.
It's a research center, so maybe there's some contraption here, whatever half these things are. Maybe something can tell me what it's made of.
I'm gonna laugh if the hologram just looks at the weapon and goes, "The fuck do you think I am, a giant?"
But yes, more specifically, Alexei, there was a small clan of the north called the Verglermir. Yep, the Verglermir.
I might need that written down.
Sure.
Thank you, because that's not how I would have spelled that.
Me neither.
Ooh, boy.
Yes, but the Verglermir were well known for exceptional forging ability because it was myth that they stole the secrets of creation from the gods. The angry deities blew up the mountain, completely burying the kingdom in lava, and so the clan was pushed to the ends of the world to preserve their secrets. So, when they mention the ends of the world, the outer regions of Hoffman are well known to be the edge of the world, because beyond that is just a wall of eternal ice.
And that's north of Elginmere.
It's somewhere probably on the northern outskirts, northeastern outskirts of Hoffman. Maybe somewhere along that coastline, or maybe hidden in the mountains. Unfortunately, no one knows. All you know is that Muspelheim is here, and they've gone elsewhere. I've even gone into Hendel. But they would go somewhere that they would think the gods would be hard stretched to find them.
So Moth.
Yeah, that's where they went. That's where all the Vitella stuff is coming from.
Who knows? There is a particularly powerful forge in Moth.
Yep.
No, we don't need to. I don't want to look at that If that's the shit that's in that valley behind the mountains, fuck that noise. I will say that there's a reason based on, like, little bits of lore I remember that Finwit doesn't like caves. And it has everything to do with Moth being on the other side of those fucking mountains.
Alright. Since we have a general plan of what we're doing, I'll be right back. And he goes to find Olin.
Maybe he will know something.
Well, Olin is in the control room, as per usual.
Pardon me for interrupting.
You're not interrupting. What do you need?
Does this place have something that can identify what something is made of?
No.
It's worth a shot. I don't suppose you happen to know what this metal is, and he tings the sword.
He looks at it a bit. The weapon in general. It bears a strong resemblance to the Breaker Blade, something thought to have slain the Kongsbjorn a long time ago by a particular king of Goldar. Well, of one of the many clans of Goldar, anyway. A Thursring, if I'm not mistaken. The origins of the blade are foggy at best, but he was known as a mountain of a man, capable of wielding a blade the width of your standard fur.
Okay. I'm guessing the name of the king varies from telling?
No. It is lore. 1 second here.
Hey guys, I totally slayed the Kongsbjorn. It's definitely not just trapped in a cave somewhere, chained up.
Well, from how deep it was buried within the Kongsbjorn, anyone would have thought that they probably dealt the killing blow to the beast.
Well, the Kongsbjorn yet lives, and it's me now. I'm the king of bears.
Now I think about it, does Sebastian still have the spear from the Kongsbjorn?
Yeah, he never uses it though.
Okay.
Well, we normally don't need to track anything, and the Lawbreaker hurts a whole lot more ouchies.
Though if a dragon tries to escape, might not be
We
a
won't
battle.
be able to get sneak attacked by a dragon, because you'll know it's there.
Alright. Ready for another fun Scandinavian name?
Is it Timothy?
There are those who call me Tim.
Squirrel, blah. Sval Gramir.
That's a rough one.
Ancient king of the Thursring, and possibly some of the Misko. The sibling to Bjorn Ironside, who is the man who became the Kongsbjorn due to his tyranny and wretchedness.
I'm the far greater Kongsbjorn. I have become the Kongsbjorn through being a big, lovable wall of muscle. And I punched a bear really hard.
I feel like the trick to reading these names is that you have to just do the very stereotypical Dracula accent for every
Kind
syllable.
of. The BVs are kind of like the same syllable, so it's closer to just Zvala Gramir. Gramir, yeah. Zvala Gramir.
You have the benefit of having family and invested interest.
That's true.
The rest of us are just dragged along.
It's okay, it's better than Danish. The Norwegians call Danish drunk Norwegian.
It was a running joke when the wife visited Belgium that they were basically, it's like somebody who is Danish was trying to speak French and doing both things poorly.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Not to insult Belgium.
All right.
But- Yeah,
and
they're... Sorry, go ahead.
after that bit of lore, Hitnas nods. Thank you. That's a little helpful. At least I have an idea as to where it kind of came from. And he eventually just leaves and joins the group. Evelyn has nothing else to say.
Well, did you want to ask about the, if he knows anything about the blacksmiths? While you're there.
Yeah, he can do that. And he goes on and describes the blacksmith, asks if Olin has any knowledge of them.
With the role he got before, he thinks from what he's like, yes. A people fought lost to the wrath of the gods well in the past. But some of their forge work does make their way into the hands of various chieftains over the ages. I believe, anyway, that they still are among the northern men. But whoever has received any of these blades neither knows where it comes from or refuses to speak of its origins. Probably due to the fear that if they are discovered, the gods might wreak their retribution once again.
Or somebody will commission a really cool sword from you and then murder you afterwards so nobody else can have it.
It's also possibly true.
Just throwing it out there as a potential, a hypothetical, if you will.
I feel if you head to the variety of cities, you might find the clues needed to locate where they might be.
Well, thank you. And he will. Actually, does Sebastian have the earring?
Yes, he does.
He quickly messages you. Do you want me to just tell him to set a course for Anar?
He does so.
Wait, what? He does so?
He
What
does-
do you mean? Oh,
does
okay.
so.
Oh, you didn't know? Sebastian is carrying this whole place right now.
He has already mastered the Deva language and grafted on an arm so that it will read him, and he is now piloting the ship. This is a mutiny.
He has found out the Deva version of Google Maps. He's charted a course. He knows how long it'll take. He sees that there's a a good 100 miles down. There's a speed trap. We gotta watch out.
He did the custom map or route so that we can stop for snacks and then go back onto the route.
Of course, he's meticulously planned out the stop.
Sebastian would be the type to be like, I have planned 5 different bathroom breaks. You will go at these appointed times. We will not be pulling off of the road.
Yeah. He's not the type of person to like, it's 5 a.m. We have to go to the airport. No, he's planned it so when you arrive, you will be boarding the plane like immediately.
You have
Everything
exactly
is
enough
perfectly
time
efficient.
somehow to get through like the check-in and all.
But yeah, there's a perfect amount of time. No time is wasted.
He's done his research. He discovered the perfect averages.
What's
He's
the name of your
researched all
weapon,
possibilities.
Devin?
The Freesta. It's kind of a makeshift one, though. You've built it from a couple of things.
I thought, man, I'm so good at this game. I actually thought the weapon was actually from the lore.
Let's see.
You posted a picture of a weapon that it was heavily based off of.
No Thung is what you based it on. With a ability from a different weapon as well. And then subtracting ability from No Thung. It's also a bastard sword rather than a two-handed axe.
You're a bastard, sword.
I mean, half of that statement is correct.
What was the name of that weapon?
It's
No
actually
Thung.
in messages. If you go like a little bit down, it's the nothing. It also has the edge down ability in the picture. Oh hell yeah! In Cyberpunk, Kong's Bjorn was above that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Man, I came up with such a good name with it. It sounded very legit. Let's see. Oh, no. Okay. Alright. I just wanted to check something. So, yes. So, upon asking that, you're nearly flying over it by the time you ask. So the temple slows down and stops, though none of you really feel the change. The only thing that changes really is that the passing by clouds no longer move as quickly. It's a very smooth ride.
I mean, it'd be a bad research vessel if it rattled its way through the skies.
It's true.
God, that thing would be a nightmare if someone like just slammed on the brakes and brought to a screeching halt. That'd be a problem with the speed it goes.
Just paste on the wall. It's not actually that fast. It's just
And
nonstop.
yeah.
And
It's not
goes over
super
everything.
fast. Yeah. It's not super fast. It just moves continuously. And as the crow flies. So it's just really fast. In lieu of Olin's typical lightning fashion, as that might be a little conspicuous, especially in the mountain peaks where the sound will just crash throughout. Everyone's been like, oh god, the gods, they've come. I'm sure you all opt for a quieter descent. Probably not directly into town.
Probably not a good idea.
Not that members of the village are not unused to seeing, great displays, it might draw the wrong kind of attention. Granted, Finwith in this form always draws the wrong kind of attention.
I'm gonna have to pull off the wings again.
But you head off into like a small, like around the hillside, and you all have to trudge through the snow down to Anar. Or Anar, as they'd pronounce it. Anar is a very small, unassuming village. Granted, since the Frostcollier are the king's most elite guard, many of the houses here have been upgraded to small manors, has brought a lot of wealth to this small village. And as you all enter in, it's a somewhat nostalgic feeling for you, Alexi, as you see the variety of... Sorry?
I said it's been months, maybe a year.
Yeah, probably over a year, because it took you a while. It'd take a long time to walk from here to
Yeah, because we met you in Gabriel.
southern Gabriel, near the border of Phaon.
Yep.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. And that was around New Year's, and it's been about 5 months since then, so... Which doesn't feel like this campaign, the events have only been 5 months, but, you know.
Yeah, no, Finwith has only had one birthday since it started.
It's true.
It's fine. Nobody knew that it was his birthday.
Flying temples, man. They'll cut down the time of your campaign by a lot.
Yep. I mean, imagine how much faster paced everything would have been with the other campaign if we'd had a flying temple.
It's true.
Fucking 5-month journey over the seas and then trekking across a fucking principality. Ugh. We managed to shave a couple weeks off of one journey by using Trigger as a warhorse.
Very, very...
There are cryptid stories
Endurance-based
the
one, yeah.
entire way we ran with Trigger. Trigger was absolutely seen at some point.
But anyway, as you all kind of walk into Anar, yeah, you see like the large manor, which you were trained at. Many of the more, well off in your Frostcollier, start training any young people here and there who come by. It's kind of like become like a dojo thing. A lot of other people from Hoffman kind of come to Anar for this training as well, to the point where they had to start restricting it to individuals of note or from wealthy families, because just so many heard the stories of the icebreakers and wanted to join their ranks. Unfortunately, at the time of your tragedy, your mentor was with you at the time and did not survive. And his son was with you as well, and he was the only other one to survive, and was irrevocably changed from the event. And so you are not 100% sure who's running the Gladysung? Yes, Gladysung family manor. Whoops.
Yep. Storovich is the only other one to survive.
That was his son.
Yep.
Storovich Gladison. And as you enter in, the manor does seem to be like it's elevated off the ground. Like you have to take some steps up, and there's walls around the manor where the training grounds are kind of located within. But you can hear the grunting of youths behind the walls as you approach.
So this is where you learn?
Yeah. Alexei, as he's walked in here, there's like a sense of like pride, but kind of like turned to an unease as he was walking through, and looks over to Finwith and goes, yes, this is where the Frost Colliers come to train. This is home.
Glad you all get to go back. It's gone well so far for them, so I'm sure it'll go well for you too. I want to see more of your home once we're done asking what we have to.
Of course, I will enjoy telling you much about the history of the North.
Did you bring the Frista with you, or did you leave it behind?
He probably brought it
own
with
that.
him.
You have to have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, and just recently I was wondering if I should take combat aura.
So you could just scare the shit out of all the kiddos training.
Thank you, love. Everyone's very good. Well, what'd you do? You got two large wood-crafted doors kind of in your way.
Traditionally, one would just have to knock on here, right? Or is it more push your way in sort of thing?
You
Those
kick the
who-
doors open.
Those familiar with the household typically would just enter in. Being a Frost Collier, being an alumni, you pretty much have free reign to enter as you so please. Granted, you have yet to do so since what happens.
Alright. He will press on both doors and push his way in.
Okay. The doors open with a noisy creak. Massive. These doors are thick. These doors are like 3 inches thick. Made from some kind of particularly dense, like spruce. Dark and large, they open up. These doors are also like 12 feet tall. So, entering in is a very noticeable affair. And as you do so, you see a large stone manor kind of in the interim. And to your left, you look and you see bare earth, currently being, cleaned of all of its snow by the blood, sweat, and tears of a bunch of Hoffman youth. In Hoffman, they tend to grow taller than average. Most of these youths are probably a little lanky, but are easily over 6 feet tall, each of them. Besides maybe some of the younger ones who are, still boys in your eyes. They're probably like 11 years old, but even at 11 years old, they're like 5'5".
Do they look like they could throw Sebastian over their shoulders?
Many of them do. They are currently all wearing like no shirt, a light gray like training pants, and no shoes. It is Frostcalier tradition to train as vulnerable to the elements.
You're gonna like it.
Yeah. Well, the Frostcalier specifically teach techniques of resisting deep cold temperatures. And usually it's motivation for them to work harder. Because the harder you work, the warmer you are.
I love that idea. I love the harder you work and the faster you train. Like, you'll learn how to resist the cold. That's great motivation.
Yeah, well, it is. It's just, traditionally, what they do is they start the day early in the morning, the second the sun rises, and they douse themselves in a bucket of water and head outside to work. And you have to work hard, or it's going to be an utterly miserable experience. You have to break a sweat. You have to really get that blood pumping, and you have to keep it going almost all day. Otherwise, the training stops like as soon as the sun starts going down. It's a very rigorous menu, and many who are not fit for it leave early enough. But people of Hoffman are already pretty used to the cold in general. So it sucks. But by Hoffman standards, it's only kind of difficult. Anyone not from the region, it would probably be a near impossible task. Kitwana probably couldn't do it. He'd probably just be like, I'm fucking out.
I mean, he was fucking like trying to like carve into a fucking mug with his nipple because it's so cold.
We just hear him.
Yeah, that was like 30 degrees. Like,
yep.
He would touch his nipple, and then all of a sudden you just hear it go flying off somewhere.
God. Yeah, no, we all got a moment to make fun of him not being acclimated for the for the cold.
when you're from the jungles of Nunway, the
Meanwhile,
coldest
we
it
were
gets there is
like,
a balmy 50 degrees.
it's actually a little warm today. And it's like, it's the middle of winter. It's like, yeah, but your ocean breeze is actually a little
So
warm.
humid.
Ugh, terrible.
There's no
No,
wind
instead-
here.
Plymouth is fine here. It's a little chilly, but also more outdoorsy and also used to mountain altitude. So while this is colder than that, he's okay at least. He's more busy trying to be like, once again I have met my match. Me being just an inch under 6 foot. God damn it. Fenwith is very short.
Yeah.
By Golder standard. Everybody else over 6 foot and just grumbles at 5'11".
Alexi standing at 6'5".
It's okay. He can bring almost anyone down to his level with a good punch.
True.
Sorry, you were
And
going to say
he can be
something
the
else, Ceci.
tallest.
Just minor flavor for the scene, nothing.
No, go ahead. Give us your flavor.
Minor flavor is he's pretty much layered his stuff. It's not enough to inhibit movement, but you can very easily see he's warm underneath all the armor because you see a very nice thick breath of steam coming from the slit in his helmet because he's wearing everything head to toe to try and keep the heat in.
No steam. Your internal biotemperature is not hot enough to produce steam.
Oh,
It's
no.
cold enough, it may as well be producing steam.
It's true. But Vitella Anatomy, your internal biotemperature is... I think the average temperature for a Vitella is 60 degrees.
Yeah, you're clinically
Something like
dead
that.
on almost all accounts.
Doesn't mean he doesn't layer practically anyway.
No, that's fair. You're not
But if I-
immune to the cold, but your body's just innately not that warm.
Oof, 62 degrees means you have a fever.
I mean, hey, if you ever get cold, you have 2 great space heaters in the party.
Alexi's damn near been trained to heat up his body on command.
And I just turn into a giant pillow pet.
Anyway, amongst the youths, they're doing a variety of drills and exercises. Working hard. Many of them look somewhat miserable, as the time of day you're entering in is like afternoon or something like that. They've probably been at this for about 5-6 hours. And they're not going to be stopping anytime soon either.
It just leans over. Fond memories?
Alexi's just all smiles right now at this group
Ah,
of kids.
look at that misery.
And he goes quite a bit. And then he'll shout out, "Keep it up! You will all be great Frostcollier one day!" And I'd like to roll a leadership to bolster their resolve.
Sure, go ahead.
Prodigal son returns.
Damn. Wish I rolled just a little higher, but it's fine.
You do so, and your presence, and you look like the ideal Frostcollier. What clothes are you wearing?
Not.
He's wearing Kongsbjorn for armor, actually.
Yeah, I think like that's the only thing you're wearing too.
Yeah, well, his last arbor met an ambiguous end.
His clothing met an end, which is tried to glamour him some clothing.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure what happened.
been
I have
long
pants.
gone. So yeah, you just look like a fucking mountain man, just wearing a pelt, just body exposed to the elements, giant sword on your back. You look like the fucking barbarian from Diablo.
Also, you have a guy behind you with an Arctic Chimera cloak.
True.
That's true. And another one who's wearing black dragon scale armor.
And the other one just has a whole bunch of trophies.
Yeah.
We all look like Monster Hunter, like dreams.
You really
That's
do.
really
Oh,
what this
no,
is.
Fenwith has the Beast Hunter badge.
Yeah.
True.
It's in all of his stuff.
Each of
true.
us is some totem of like, yeah, we fought scary shit.
High level
I'm not-
adventurers coming into town
Yeah.
with all their glam on, and everyone's just like, oh, I want to be like them someday. When do I get to level 60?
You go through the tutorial mission in an MMO and you load into the main city and there's all these people with their like high tier 1% drop rate, rare like dyes and like sparkle effects and all types of garbage, just like glowing violently with their fancy mounts and their mini pets. You're just like, I'm gonna be that one day. If I spend money, maybe.
But yeah, as you all enter in, and you come up and you say this, they all look and they're like, oh god, who is that? You know, he must be a Frostcollier of some note though, look at him. And you know, it causes a stir. A very stern looking woman kind of like steps around the crowd, and she obviously seems to be the one mentoring all of them, and she approaches. She's short, but for a Hoffman woman, which means that she is 5'10".
Fair.
Like, she's a head below all the men, but like a head above women from any other region.
And some of the men.
And some of the men from yeah, she'd be a head above me. About anyway. like 3 inches. So she'd be like eye level. Anyway, she kind of comes around. She has white hair, but there's a frost to it, like a frosty blue color. That kind of her hair is very much done in like a braid. It's kept short, but still kind of braided somewhat. It's probably like shoulder length hair normally, and braided over the ears, and it's very like done for the sake of training and everything like that. She is wearing the standard like Frost Collier outfit, which is quite typically like noble's clothing, not a lot of armor, at least in this setting. Frost Collier noble's clothing is very drab. It's military-esque gray. It shows really high-class design. It resembles like a high-class military outfit, in a lot of ways. Considering the king has made the Frost Collier like namesake, the elite unit of Hoffman. So probably from your days as a youth, it wasn't quite so much, but as you've grown up, they've kind of become more and more integrated in with the Hilda's theme kind of style for their military.
Okay.
Might have like a high lapel that's kind of like fur lined and everything to fight the cold and all that. Like imagine whenever like in any anime or any kind of show you watch like military outfits from like Russia or like cold climates. It's like very military-esque, but then they have like the fur lined collar or whatever. It's very well cut. But she comes up to you and you notice something because you have your spectral analyzers on. The frostiness from her hair emanates a bluish aura. Unfortunately, you lacked the magic appraisal to actually know what it means, but you do see that there is something there.
What do you mean? It gives you a plus 40 to magic appraisal.
It's true, but you do have to be trained in it.
Unfortunately.
We have to ask Olin for some extracurricular.
I think by Cameron's rules, you have to have the gift to have magic appraisal.
Standardly, I could say you could probably at least invest a little bit into it because you have the magic analyzer. The thing is, the gift allows you to sense magic like through a sixth sense. You're not capable of doing so, but you can see it. So I'm sure, or at least an occult training could probably also help.
Fair.
Anyway. Badass lady.
Yeah, she comes up and she kind of looks you over and she focuses mostly on you, Alexei. And she says, well, she speaks to you strictly in the Hoffman version of Goldarian, which is a much rougher, terse Goldarian.
It's fine. The sculling are rough Goldarian too.
Yeah, I mean the schooling. I mean, all Goldarians could technically understand them. It's just a different dialect. But she speaks to you in Northern Goldarian. And she says, "Well, I see another one of our Frostcalair have come back looking ramshackle, and with an interesting group of individuals."
Alexei has definitely straightened up his posture a bit.
So, what can I do for you? You're interrupting with our training.
Oh, or actually no, he wouldn't talk with an accent right now. I was just kind of lost myself in the moment where just seeing the young ones training again was a little fire in me. I'm sorry for disrupting anything. I was hoping to get some information about some of the, if there's been any disappearances to beasts, like in fewer number.
She nods. She thinks about it for a moment. She turns to all the youths and it sounds very harsh and terse to those who do not speak Goldarian. I mean, just imagine someone in Russian just yelling at a bunch of people. It's essentially how it comes across. But she says along the lines of, I'm gonna be taking this Frostcollier and discussing business. Y'all better keep sweating until I get back. And then she turns to you and she says, we can discuss this in the manor. And she turns and escorts you to the large manor.
Oh, right this way. And kind of nods them over.
Good with shadowing.
Your two non-Goldarian friends don't know what's happening. Everyone just started walking in a direction.
Well, that's why he turned and went back to his accent to let them know to go along.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. Sorry. As they're walking by, a more probably like an apprentice Frostcollier is kind of standing by, and she looks at him and she motions over to all the students, and he goes and grabs a bucket and starts heading off in their direction, probably to douse them in ice cold water. Like I said, it's a really good motivator to sweat and work hard when the alternative is freezing to death.
There's like a smile on his face. I remember when we eventually got the chance to punish the one that did that to us. It was a good time.
The Nos leans slightly in Sebastian's direction. Might be interesting training to be more resistant to the cold, but I don't know how long it would take.
I don't see there being any good reason for us to do that.
I was just saying it was interesting training.
It makes sense. It is interesting.
And with just elbows into Alexi lightly, and Goldar is just they're gonna die of hypothermia if they try.
Honestly, probably.
You head inside the large manor. Very nice carved doors kind of wait for you as you enter in. And as you enter in, the harsh, cold, gray stone exterior to the manor is highly contrasted by the nice glossed wood paneling inside. It all seems to be a nice cherry wood floors and beams and decorations. You can see that there's it's a classy place that has half levels. You can take a few steps up and you're in a slightly elevated position over here, and a few steps down and you're at a lower elevation over there. There's large windows that kind of look out over the town, and you can see that there's a set of wood stairs that kind of go up to an open-faced balcony above that leads into a whole second level. It's a very ritzy place. Very, very spancy place. They escort you down a half level to what appears to be a lounge sitting area. She motions to a variety of fur-lined chairs for y'all to sit into.
Then wait until Alexi sits first.
Fair. Alexi will take a seat, and it's it's the big man sit where they place both their hands on their knees and then slump into the chair.
You do the dad grunt.
Yeah. It's all nice. There's nearby hearth going on to keep the interior warm, and it feels like the furs just pick up the heat and retain it as you sit down. They feel pretty toasty.
Man, those kids would kill to be in here.
Oh yeah, it's there's a window nearby from the training area. They're not currently at that window, but there's another training area, and you know that they could probably look in and see the nice fire at times.
I guarantee some probably have.
You remember distinctly yourself in your youth looking over and just seeing the fire going on as it's starting to get dim outside and just wishing you would go there. Students are never allowed inside the manor, though, so unless you graduate and you're, of particular repute, which you were at the time. This is not the first time you've been in this household. I mean, you were relatively a hot off the barracks, apprentice frost collier when you went on your first hunt.
Before then.
Yeah. But she chooses not to sit, but instead stands next to her seat and kind of turns. She looks at the other individuals. She'll continue speaking in Goldarian. And she says, So, I'm not going to ask about your apparel. It seems that you've been through a lot of fights recently, I can tell. She gives you a very shrewd eye. Some interesting fights indeed. Something we'll talk about maybe at a later point. But for now, let's talk about the problem that our kingdom's been having. But first, just to confirm my suspicions, what exactly are you hunting, Froscolier?
It would appear that there is 2 dragons flying around the passes. That we have gotten wind of.
She kind of lets out a sigh. You can see her chest kind of heave for a moment. And then she nods. Yes, you would be correct. There has been disappearing flocks from our various herders in the mountains. All between the passes between Hidastheim and Offerhul. Unfortunately, we're still rebuilding much of the elite ranks of the Frost Collier after that event that happens.
Kind of looks dour.
She looks at you and she then casts her eyes down for a moment like she's in thought. She breathes in again. Sebastian, roll for me insight.
Will do.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
152.
Alrighty. She's testing Alexi. And with that recent statement, she seemed to have confirmed something. The purpose for this you do not know. But she breathes in again and she says, we need as many Frostcollier to aid in this issue as we can. considering the fact that you're asking about it, I don't need to assume that that's something you're already working on. As the current head of House Gladstone, I'd like to ask you on behalf of the Frost Collier to aid our other veterans in the huntings of these beasts. It will take more than just a singular one to deal with them.
Of course. In fact, honestly, it is why most of us are here. And having fought by these individuals myself, I would say they're worthy to fight alongside Frostcolier.
Her eyes cast about the room. She kind of looks suspiciously at Sebastian. I can tell that your companions have a good amount of fighting experience. So, I won't say anything other untowards them. It would not be the first time a Frostcolier has used mercenaries after all. Not to be disrespectful to our guest, she motions to y'all. Two of you don't know what she's saying.
Yeah, no, when she says mercenaries, like, Finwith's nose, like, wrinkles just a little, but, like, he doesn't seem, like, super upset about it.
Unfortunately, she doesn't realize you don't speak the language because Anastasia is wearing a helmet and Sebastian has a stony face. So,
The only thing he's caught was they looked at me very suspiciously. I wonder what they're thinking. Then, like, that was it.
And that's like glancing at Finwith, like, what was going on?
Oh, if you look to Finwith, he kind of leans back some to be, like, clearly out of there to conversation and talking about hunting the dragons. And he just, like, gestures over at Sebastian. You're small as fuck.
I am smaller than all of you, yes.
That was all.
well, then you can meet our other Frostcolier that we have currently up in Hildesheim. They're currently discussing the matters dealing with these beasts. And as much as I'd love to be there, I have to watch after our young ones.
Of course. As you are the new head of Gladstone, he kind of thinks on the words for a second. How is Storvich?
Her face breaks as this seems particularly harsh for her. She inhales deeply. She says, "My brother ended his life about a winter ago."
His eyes cast down, but he gains a resolve about him and pulls himself back up. I see. I am sorry for your loss.
And when she says brother, you didn't recognize her at first, but she is the much younger sister to Storovich. And the last time you like really saw her was when she was like only up to your waist in height. She is particularly young, and seeing her now in probably like 5 years, she's developed into a very stern and weathered looking Frostcolier. It's bizarre to see, and it just kind of further hits home just how long ago everything happened and how much has changed.
The realization of that kind of hits him, but it's kind of like a widening of the eyes for a second and then goes back to his his giving of sorry.
Yeah, and she holds up a hand and says, "At least he doesn't have to fight his demons anymore." Anyway, if need be, I can provide you provisions for your journey. But I do recommend make all haste for Heidestein.
That is where everybody is meeting up. Then?
She said as much earlier.
Yeah, okay.
It's where all the other Frost Collier are meeting up to deal with the problem.
That we shall. Though, he'll switch back and turn to Anastasia and Sebastian. It would appear that we are going to be going to Heidelstein. I said that wrong, didn't I?
Hildestein.
Hildestein. It is where the Frostcollier are gathering to actually fight these dragons.
Then we'll have help them. Good.
Nas nods in agreement.
We have been offered provisions. Is there anything that's any of you need?
Nas just puts his hands behind his back.
Besides basic provisions, food, and water, then. Though, do you believe that these other Frostcully we're meeting up with can handle a dragon?
I unfortunately don't know. It has been quite some time since I've been back. And I don't know who all will be there.
Could you ask her for me?
He'll look to her. Do you believe that the Frostcollier are up for the challenge? The ones that can make it?
She gives you an indignant look. And she speaks in Latin. And she says, "The Frostcollier are the strongest soldiers of Hoffman. No dragon is going to take our men down."
And Alexei.
That was in Latin.
S-
So.
Yeah. Alexei seems to have known what the answer was going to be, and then turns to you and goes, "Would that be a satisfactory answer?"
No, but I believe that is the only answer I'll get.
She's not giving you a very pleasant look, Sebastian.
He's giving no response. He's trying to plan here, so he needs to know
No,
what
that's
these people
fair.
are capable of.
It's okay. Once we get where the others are, we can talk more about plans.
I'll have to see what they're capable of first before I decide what they can do.
Alexei would know what most of the Hey, thanks for remembering. You've said the words before. I was like, tactics. They're tactics.
Alexei will look back over to her and go, "Is there anybody that I would be familiar with there?"
Some of the old hands are still kicking about around. There is...
Meanwhile, Finn was over behind his shoulders at Sebastian's like, "Remember, you didn't think Skogan Jäger would be able to do anything. Even with planning. Having no other option but to fight for people. That counts for a lot too."
I'm aware. I want to account for strength so I can make sure the least amount of people.
He gives you like this like smile that would be dopier, except like she's standing there, so like you can see him kind of like try and rein his expression in. Because oh boy, that's a world difference from Skogan Jaeger.
If I'm able to know what they're capable of, I can make sure I don't instruct people to do something that will only get them killed.
You just got to give people a heads up before you pick them up.
I will say for the regular frost colliers that are in there, Cameron, you'll have to do some adjustments because for some reason they're adjusted for strength when they should be adjusted for dex. It's really weird. Because they have strength accumulations, but frost collier don't have any abilities that involve strength whatsoever. So
Yeah, I think they built this book and the other book without like connecting the two. It was like, oh, there's Frost KI, and then they made the key book, and they're like, hey, there's Frost Clear, make some frost techniques, and then like, okay, and they did, and then, you know, I mean, like it's kind of like the fact that there's actually no stats for the Inquisitors. There's just champions of as it's like champions of something from like the church or whatever. Like it's really weird. I will not say Anima is a very well put together game, mechanically speaking.
No, it's just fucking great.
The lore
As
is
it is
great.
agonizing.
The lore is great, and the world is great, but yeah. Anyway, do you want a bunch of names? I got a bunch of names for Frostcollier, if you'd like to have some.
sure.
All right. There's Mimir Skildulfsson.
I want you to remember as you're trying to spell these that you asked for this.
I might need help with typing.
If you have them written down, you might just have to copy paste them in.
I'm already doing that. There's Soren Hacken's son. There's Tor Kittelsvik. There's Torah Morseth. Urey Živik. Ursula Winka. And Trig Vosben.
Welcome back.
I was so close at spelling that one correctly, too.
Benwith forgets every single syllable as soon as it's said.
I don't know. Would it be like a history, or would I know of like some merits of some of these people?
Yeah, there's 7. Yes. So of the 7 current like elite Frostcollier, let's see. Trig Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane being the Hoffman version of Wolfsbane, is a renowned Frostcollier who is well known even in your days of apprenticehood for slaying a large wolf that is thought to have been Garm, or like the child of Garm. He wears its massive black pelt as a trophy, and he is a well-renowned hunter and oftentimes works solo. Ursula Winka is from a particularly well-known family. No real accolades as of this point, but she has been known to go on a variety of hunts with other Frostcollier for fighting beasts. She's definitely not new to this by any standards, and would be about 3 years your senior. Let's see. Reykjavik is a very well-known, somewhat hot-headed Frostcollier. Always looking for a fight, and known for his viciousness. It is only outmatched for his bloodthirst for hunting beasts. He is a dual axe wielder, and is well known for doing so. Many believe he becomes overwhelmed by the... oh god, what's the term? It's somewhere in the book. I have to look for it. But the blood rage. It's like Reiksrilder or something like that, or Reiksredder. I can't remember. And I don't want to search the whole book to find like the one mention of it in somewhere. I think it's in the key book, but I'm not 100%. Anyway. Tora Meres is a pretty there's not many female Frostcollier. She is known to be one of the best female Frostcollier, and she comes from the Morseth household, which is a very well-known Frostcollier household as well. It is believed that her father, or her great-grandfather, was one of the ones who originally was taught under the Wanderer who taught the Frostcollier their techniques. Thor's Kittlesvik is kind of the same as Winko, or Ursula. Comes from a well-known house. No major accolades, but has been on more than his fair share of hunts. More or less the same for Soren Hackinson, though Soren Hackinson has a large great axe that's been passed down through his family line that says it was made from the crystals from the Wall of Eternal Ice, and the axe is known to be a competitor for the Frista. And the last one is Mimir Skadulvison. I forgot to put his first name there. Mimir is a old Frostcollier, probably the oldest active Frostcollier, who even in his late 50s has continued hunting. And he is known as the Grey Wolf because, of course, every Scandinavian culture has to have a Grey Wolf individual in their, nomenclature. He is a well-renowned leader and has led many successful hunts against things even as dangerous as the Frostjotun, frost giants.
It's quite a lineup.
Well, I mean, of all probably a couple hundred Frostcollier, these are the only 7 that are of reputable note.
Fair.
And perspectively speaking, their levels will range between 5 and 7, maybe 8.
Okay.
I feel no sense of responsibility over these individuals already.
You know, you say that, these are legendary people.
Yes, and we are nearly double the greatest of them. And also, I'm not sure how above their weight class they're swinging with dragons, but I'm thinking it's a little. How strong was your party when you guys took on the dragon with the sculling, the other campaign?
They didn't actually take it on.
Well, that's right. You guys just
I
stabbed
pierced
a
the
bitch.
dragon's brain.
I
What are
take
you
it
talking
back.
about?
You're not really dragon slayers. Not a single one of you. Especially not Aaron Black.
I think we were level 4 or 5.
Maybe.
Nah, maybe. That wasn't a very long campaign, honestly, so probably 5 or 6, maybe.
But it was long enough to ruin Finwith's life.
But yeah.
There's definitely a very impressed look that comes over Alexa's
Yeah.
face.
Mimir, Trig, and... Well, you would have heard of Ray, but he's more infamous than he is famous.
He's kind of a dick. That's what I'm
He's
getting.
not well liked amongst the Frostcollier, but he's a really
The kill
good
thing
hunter.
good.
Yeah.
There you go.
And a lot of the family names are pretty good by your standards. So.
Let's see. The blacksmith stuff too. For the he points over at the Buster Blade.
Oh. I don't know. I guess another question that we had was Okay. If you had any information on the Vergermir. Yeah.
The H is relatively silent. It's
Vergermir.
Vergermir. You're close. Sorry, she's jingling behind me. She looks at you strangely, and she says, I have no idea what that has to do with anything.
It is, it's more for one of my compatriots. They have a sword that I guess was forged by them, and wanted to get it repaired.
Honestly, I have not the time to think of such things. You might want to ask Soren Hawkinson. It's apparently his weapon comes from them.
We will have to do that then. Other than that, only basic provisions will be needed, and we'll make our way immediately.
We don't even need provisions. We have a castle. Or temple.
She nods. She says, fortunately for you all, it's getting warmer now. It shouldn't be too long of a journey. Maybe just over a month.
Month, hour.
Month, hour. What's the difference?
That's if actually he's stuck with us. I don't know if he's just if he continued on to go and get things.
No, he's waiting. So we're just.
Yeah, no, we've determined that the castle still got plenty of charge. You've used maybe like 6 days of its month of charge.
God, vehicles are broken in Anima.
We won't
Flying
need,
ones are, yeah.
We won't need too many supplies. We have enough of our own and can hunt on the way. Would not want to strain anything.
It's not strain, and it would be preferable than you wasting time hunting, than you just have meals along the way.
She's so big! Celeste, no, come back. There goes the boy cat. She blends almost entirely into the couch from...
Yeah, from the camera. She's gotten very big now. And is only become more of a troublemaker as she's gotten bigger.
On the right side, she's less scratchy than she used to be.
She's learned her manners a little bit.
She's growing a better ability score to cause mischief with.
They always get worse the older they get. They just start more shit, they can get more places, they can jump higher.
Ripley is also much bigger than Dove, and Celeste is already bigger than Dove.
Yeah.
And Dove's a runt.
She's so tiny. We keep calling her, like, Ferret.
But she says, well, just make sure it's enough. That's all we ask.
Of course.
She looks at you and she looks at the sword again. She mulls something over, but she just drops it and she says, well, excuse me, the future of the Force Kalia I need to tend to. And she gets up and kind of marches out, and she stops and she's like, you might want to fix your apparel before you go meet the others.
They're gonna make fun of you, though.
I guess I could get something made.
Especially one who has few deeds as yourself, she says, almost pointedly before she continues through the front doorway and heads out.
It's a shame she doesn't know that the bear skin is actually Kongsbjorn. It doesn't look as impressive as it is. Very strong.
To be fair, I don't think no, I didn't help with that fight.
No, you got we got the extra.
But
You've slain a demon lord, but if no one knows about it, then who the fuck are you?
I feel like Dagon.
I would say you had a...
Yeah.
We could say you had a heart to prove it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that
we do.
engorged thing is currently beating in Sebastian's chest.
uncomfortably so. Oh, it's on the other side. Well, there we go.
There you go.
God, I hope she didn't sense anything coming off you.
I mean, it's fine. Actually, I don't know how trained you would have to be to tell, like, that Finwith has the "I eat mages for breakfast" necklace on. At least he doesn't have any active, like, shape shifting.
If it was brought up, that'd be a fun conversation of, yeah, they killed a demon lord. I bent it to my will inside my own mind. So now we have a deal.
Like, we're kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
That's almost a harder sell.
They killed it physically, I killed it mentally. It can come out once per month, essentially. Which, by the way, when's that happening?
We already established, it's far off. It's only been a day. It's been like 2 days.
That's fair. It has, yeah.
It was the waning gibbous, I think, or was it
waxing
gibbous? So you got ways.
Yeah. Cool, decent amount of ways. Away, that's good.
Or bad, depending on the timing.
Myself, like, chain myself to a wall. I will find it super funny if when it pops up. It's definitely not going to be like this. It's just I don't have access to his psychic abilities. I have access to all Sebastian's physical traits. It's just, what the fuck is his body? He's a 5 strength. I can't
That's
do
what we've
anything.
been saying.
Yeah.
Finwith just like bench pressing him with one hand. It's like holding a handful of grapes.
Well, if you want to, we can find out how much you weigh soaking wet. They have buckets.
God, I'm never doing that. That would be like murder.
So given that...
Go ahead.
No.
I said it first. You have to go first.
Just for general description of this house, I know wood carvings are a thing. I'm guessing because of how it's expansive this house is, there's a lot of elaborate wood carvings in comparison.
Yeah, it's ironically, the people of Hoffman don't kind of bunk in like the people of Goldar do during the winter months, because like all months are the winter months. They're just used to working in like 3 foot to 7 feet of snow sometimes. So, yeah, it's, and plus they're just rich as fuck, so they just have a lot of very elaborate woodwork. And it's an old house, too, probably a couple centuries, so.
Alright.
But, yeah, is there anything else you want to do in the immediate?
I gotta update my wardrobe, apparently.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, is there any kind of actions? Because we can end here.
Don't want to drop by home first? See what's what? We're going to meet the rest of the phrase?
We could. That might be a next session thing, but we could.
I would love to do that. Please let me have a keyboard so I can take notes on that. I'll need to remember that.
Yeah, we'll leave that for next session.
And next session will be going window shopping in the worst way. Radovan will be so disappointed by the end results and seeing the phrase.
I don't know. He might like fur chic.
I feel like he had enough time to look at it and then go.
I don't know. I could see Radovan rocking the like military, the military fur look.
Yeah, but he would have to add additions to it. Like, he wouldn't be able to do the like practical.
Oh, it would be like trimmed all to hell, and there'd be all kinds of like. It would just be a very extra.
And I could absolutely see him in like a fucking mink coat or something. Just to be extravagant.
He really has like that front pocket that you stick your hand in. Like in the chest area.
But all right. So, we're going to go ahead and end for this session here. So let's go ahead and do some experience, shall
Alex,
we?
how much did you need?
8.
All right, make
Ominous.
sure we get 7.
No, please.
Well, that's rough because the first interpretation award is gonna be over 10 typically.
I know.
But speaking of general interpretation, I think we had some good characterization this session. Some good narrative, some good like lore stuff was dropped. I'll give you all 15 experience points for the interpretation. 3 for being here, 1 for Anastasia.
I don't even have to say it.
No good ideas or plans, no difficult actions. Mostly just a roleplay session, figuring out what you want to do, finding some interesting bits of lore, just a lore episode in general. Y'all know about a bunch of famous schooling now. Or not schooling. Froscolier.
I'm sure they would love for you to make that mistake in character.
Yeah. Which I'm going to be a good GM and actually add that to my notes.
It's just a note that says, Froskellier aren't sculling.
Nice high jump, Celeste. Excellent murder. Don't get taken off the couch by her.
She ran off with the wand. She's gone into the box with her kill.
Cats are such a fucking wreck.
Man, I go back through our bestiary sometimes and I'm just like, man, this party's been through some fucking shit.
Yeah, we have run into, there's like just the Roll20, like little drop down shared bits. Yes, we have fought some wild shit. Or at least
We've seen a necro golem.
Yep, and it was on our side. We watched it vomit bodies like a cannonball.
Man, imagine the army we would have on our team for taking down Black Sun if he just didn't have that restriction on him.
I just want to pet Necrogolem. That sounds fun.
Imagine.
I'd like to ride that bastard into battle.
Imagine if they let him just go all out once. It's like, now listen, this is important. Just let me like summon a big monster, all right? And they're like, fine, I guess.
Just let me get it out of my system to say I've done it, and then I'll never do it again. You have the kill switch, it's fine. Can I make one sick as fuck thing?
And then as wizards do, it's unlimited power.
I've gotten a taste and I can't stop. I don't have a problem. You all have a problem.
Sorry, I got the blood frenzy.
Ooh, lost my cool. Should have put more in composure.
Let's see. No combat awards, no segment closure.
But Lexi did some talking.
He did do some talking, so we'll give him the face award for this session.
Got to roll that leadership.
Utility. Alexi again. Various history rolls actually pretty helpful for the session.
He's a
The-
history nerd.
Pity award. We'll say Finwith for the ever increasing anxiety knowing that what comes next is not going to be pleasant.
That's fine. It will obviously be a meet cute with the family, and everything will go perfectly fine, and I definitely won't have to nearly genocide my own clan. That would be, like, fucked up. Rather not do that.
Pity well earned. Any other player nominations and or kudos?
A minor pity award Less for Alexi, who's getting dunked on because he's basically just showed up wearing like, bitch, you look like a sculling. Ugh. Instead of a noble champion, like warrior of the king. But instead to Sebastian, who is just constantly ridiculed by all of this grade A beef.
It's so common. It's so common to him.
You're locker shaped. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. For being a nerd in a jock campaign, Sebastian can get the pity award.
You know what the worst part is?
He's not even a good nerd. He's not even smart.
No, he's not even a nerd. He's a jock. He is a jock, just like a jock.
He's a nerd-shaped jock.
Like, no, I like fighting. I like all that stuff. I'm just tiny.
He's the really skinny guy in the football team.
Yeah, but the really skinny guy in a football team who's like weirdly really good. You're like, oh, okay, all right.
I mean, technically, to everyone, Anastasia looks like a child.
But they make up for it with the massive armor.
Giant fuck off sword.
Yeah, Sebastian's got a regular sword.
Fucking Anastasia is just like, say when, and then launches you 150 feet away.
The only thing Sebastian has to get any respect from Goldarians is the Chimera pelt. And hopefully they actually believe he was the one that like did the finishing like blow.
Fenwith will never be okay with the sheer amount of times the glorious kill has been taken.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fine sharing the like final blow. He doesn't care about that. But it's like, man, when people get to hit stuff and he doesn't get to hit stuff, he's so sad. I'm so glad Arctur's gone. Fenwith was so sad the whole time that was happening. And starting to get angry, which was a very bad combination with the Ignis form.
That's why he was holding back in the final bits. He's like, okay, I'm gonna let Fenwith do this. They clearly care. I don't. So like, alright. I'll let Fenwith like kill the things. I don't really care.
Fortunately, in future games, the multi-attack key abilities will be nerfed.
I don't care that he's like dangerous. It was just like the combination of the damage and the range meant Fenwith didn't get to hit shit, and Fenwith just specifically enjoys like 3 things above all. He enjoys just good food and alcohol. I mean, he's a fucking Viking. Boy's got to put on some calories, all right? He enjoys fighting. Not always to the death, but that's a cool, fun perk. And just general affection and cuddle piles and being warm and around people that he loves. He doesn't get a lot of the third one, so he has to focus on number 2.
Yeah.
I will say, I do nominate Fenwith for the just excited to be everybody's family. Like, it happened with Anastasia, it happened with Sebastian, it's happening with Alexi. They're just always up for it.
That's fair. Fenwith could use another pity award. Take another pity award, Fenwith.
Well, unless Sinan had, other kids, he's an only child, doesn't know where his mom is, and his dad is definitely dead.
I'll have to go over our notes. Was your mom not a part of your clan?
I don't think we ever really covered it in detail, but I had the idea that it was kind of just passing thing. She's a part of technically a different. She was sculling, but she was a part of a different group.
Oh, okay.
Or at least was a bit more pro.
This sounds like you're begging me to hurt Fenwith more and more.
Well, I just already had that when I first made the character. It was definitely stayed with his dad, and his mom was a bit more mobile and a bit more nomadic.
Okay. All right.
So.
No, I'll give you what you want.
No. That's not. It doesn't have to be bad, okay? It can actually just be she died in the battle or died at some other point. It's fine. We don't.
I know what you want with your characters. I know you want the hardcore character progression.
No, because if you make Fenwith have to fight his mom, he'll just lay down and die. He's like, no, I'm not fighting her. Are you crazy? I'd fight Skull before I fought my mom. Fuck that. Do you know what her deed name is? Farax. Do you want to know why? She put an axe through me, you, You definitely use Sebastian.
I would also like to nominate Anastasia for one. He's breaking out of his shell a little bit. He's being a little bit more boisterous with like his actions, and I like it.
I like the growing saga of this is so boring.
Yes.
That's
Come on, no one's got like a switch or something. Like
Such a teenager.
it's
Such a
fair.
teenager. Yeah, take a player word for being such a teenager.
my cell phone died 5 days ago.
Why doesn't this
Murder.
place have a fucking adapter? They had all this tech and they couldn't come up with a universal charger. In fact, you just haven't asked Olin for it, or Olin does know, but he just doesn't want to have to deal with the beep, 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 like Game Boy sounds in the back of the car on the road trip. Because you don't have headphones.
Olin like yelling at you if you turn the light on, like while he's flying the temple.
I also can't be the only one who's curious what he forgot to buy. Like,
Probably some fucking just Anima Monopoly or something.
Some board game, a book, something, anything to kill the boredom, because there's nothing in this flying
Nothing.
research temple.
Listen, you don't need books. You have 2 Vikings. Yeah, we got some oral stories. We'll tell you some stories. You want the bedtime story? Do you want to tell you bedtime stories and us?
Do you want to learn about
They won't put you to sleep. He's way too hype.
Do you want to learn about thousands of military campaigns that have been conducted in the continent? I can tell you about that. I don't know a lot about the
predict a
larger
future
context,
video
but I
word.
know exactly what happened in these battles and how such and such general did a really poor job and could have done better.
And Elsa's bored and trying to can we just have a board game or whatever? And Sebastian's just I will create war tabletop gaming.
He creates a war game and he's the best at it.
he creates Warhammer.
Yeah.
Not Warhammer, like Risk.
No, he would have to be the
more
actual
complex.
he'd have to be the
But-
regular
But
war.
Risk doesn't have
tabletops.
psychic abilities.
Yeah, except here's the thing. Do you think he could come up with anything super creative?
No, he couldn't.
If he hasn't seen it, it's not happening. And
Yeah.
if he doesn't understand it, it's not getting included because he can't account for the balancing rules.
The most it would be is he would create what that there's a few historical tabletop games. The 2 I know is there's obviously a World War II one, because why wouldn't there be? And there's one set in the Napoleon campaigns. I forget what the name of that actual era is, or the game, but there's just one set with that. And it would literally just be going through historical battles with little models. Creativity behind the rules.
Sebastian would hate
that.
Warhammer.
Oh, he would hate it. There's no
He
logical.
would look at it and be
no logic
like,
to it.
the game is dumb. The lore makes no sense.
This empire would have crumbled long ago.
There's no reason for that strategy should not have worked when it did, because some dice told you it did. That's not accounting for human error.
I do not
Sure.
understand how they keep falling for the warp. What is this
Yeah,
chaos they keep falling to?
it
Just
would
have
not-
better composure.
He would hate it. He would hate all.
He would hate it.
Why do they treat psychics like this?
Why do
Oh,
they
no.
keep rewriting the lore every 10 years?
And then he goes through violent, dramatic, fucking flashbacks because of the way they treat the psionics.
Yeah.
What they're fucking called. He's
Psychers.
like, oh no. Yeah, psychers. He's like, oh no, I've been here before.
Gotta sacrifice 20,000 each day.
Gotta feed the Omnissiah.
Nope, Emperor of Mankind.
Yeah.
Emperor
Omnissiah-
Mankind. Sorry,
No,
Omnissiah is
Emperor
the
of
other
Mankind
one.
Is the Omnissiah. It's the machine god, and the Emperor, the Omnissiah, is essentially Jesus for the. There you go.
I hate Warhammer. Anyway,
I'm still learning. Anywho. Any other player nominations in Arcudius?
I do have a request.
Sure.
Can I have another bear damage because I'm sad?
Another bear damage? Sure, one
Yeah.
more bear damage.
I can have another bear damage, yay.
Also,
How else are you gonna kill your mom?
No! I take it back. I don't want the bear damage anymore.
also Sebastian asked Alexi for help finally. You're
Yeah.
going through them training arcs, boy.
Yes, we are.
Meanwhile,
God, I
Anas is in the
really
background.
We'll start off small. We'll hit you with lukewarm water in the middle of the castle, and then we'll move up to let the mountain passes. We'll get you there.
So beyond that, how did you all enjoy the session? Enjoy the lore that you came across this time around?
I had fun.
We've learned more about the Frostcolier.
I'm excited to meet more of them, meet people who've known Alexi. I'm excited for fun Alexi backstory stuff. And then killing a dragon with a bunch of Vikings. That's going to be a great time.
I also love. I just love being able to use my weird skill that I have on Alexi, which is history. With Dawn, it was fucking animals. So I don't know. I have a lot of fun with it.
I also like to think back sometimes on you putting science on Dawn and literally never getting to use it. I think you got to roll it once, and it was about the like elevator key card or some shit.
I did have science on Dawn, yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
He had a plus 15.
But no, it's super great having a whole bunch of history. I was riding that constant high with Astrid. Whipping out plus 180s to history. Yes, give me the lore, Cameron. You have no option.
History is it's a good one. It's a fantastic one to find about the many things I have in the book that I've read like 3 times.
History and occult. You gotta have somebody in the campaign
That's true.
who knows it or else.
Yep.
And magic appraisal if you can help it. Sometimes you can't.
Nerds.
Sometimes you don't have magic, but
Nah, it's fine.
alrighty. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We're ending a little early. Well, actually, we're praying. We're a little early. A little early today. You know, someone fucked up their keyboard, and now we just gotta.
I just try to
We
fix
just
it.
gotta fucking deal with it, I guess.
I do. I have to go drive Fred Meyer like right after this.
Plus, I'm sure Suzanne would like some sleep for the first time in 24 hours. So.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Lives. We're really busy. I gotta measure myself for a suit. I really need to do that. But if you've enjoyed this, go ahead and follow to see more amazing content like this. Hopefully, we'll start multi-streaming soon, so you can watch us on your favorite platform of choice. If you have any ideas or if you have any preferences in platforms, I'll be more than happy to hear it. And speaking of places where you can put that information, go down to the Discord down below, let me know there, or join us just for the possibility of possibly gaming with us in the future. I'd like to go ahead and thank my players so much for being here with me today and role-playing with me. And we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. So say goodnight, everyone.
Nighty-night.
Good night.